Hello and welcome to the Mindful Millionaire. I'm your host, Lisa Peterson, and today I'm interviewing my friend and client, Sucheta Phadke. Sucheta is an amazing learning and development coach, teacher, educator, and she's been working with me off and on for several years. And today I asked her to come on the show because she has recently been diagnosed with breast cancer. When I had the fortune to speak with her amidst her cancer treatments, I was completely spellbound by what she has learned from her cancer journey and how it relates to her as a human being, as a business person, as someone who is always looking to learn and transform the things that are happening in her life, and what cancer has done to her experiences, how she's able to come through this experience from a place of peace, love, and joy. So I asked her to come on and have a conversation with me about who she is and how this journey has affected her life and what's happening as a result for her.
Hey, hi Lisa, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. Yeah.
To me, a truly remarkable story that I want to explore with you. This experience that we had the opportunity a few weeks ago to talk, and when I spoke with you, I asked you if you would be able to come on to the podcast because I felt like the presence of you inside of this experience was breathtaking and so beautiful. And I wanted to share it with my listeners. And I'm so grateful that you were able to be here
Yeah,
today.
and I'm so thankful to you, Lisa, because I would love to be with your listeners and like they become mine now too. And I think if both of us could share this experience, and if I could share my experience of what I'm going through, and it helps someone out there, I think I'll just be so grateful and blessed.
And perhaps you could tell us a little bit about you, how that kind of brought you to where you are today.
So I'm Sucheta, and I'm from India, and I have been doing learning experience design, designing training programs for almost 25, 30 years now. Have a media background, but have done a lot of work in using technology in education. I have a daughter, she's 18, and I left a corporate, senior level corporate job, and for the last 8 years, I've been doing my own business. And last year, I think, Lisa, I think we started working about 2, 3 years ago, but last year has been incredible with, I prospered, I've learned so much, made so many new friends, and there is so much that has transformed me through the program as well. So that's
Mm,
who I am.
yeah. And you've been on a spiritual journey, would you say, all your life? Like, I'm curious about just your spiritual, the inner experience for you. It's been important to you.
Yeah, it's been important for me. Like, I think right from childhood, I've seen my mom, uh, pray, and we all pray. So, and she believes in a certain, what do you call, like a guru, right? Or it's like for us, in India, there's so many gods that we sort of pray to. But we call him, Swami at our home. And she's been praying. And I remember the first time I think I went for immunization, I was too scared. And she said, you just pray, right? And you won't feel the pain. And I think that's where it all began. Though I never realized it. I went through a lot of tough times in my younger days, seen a lot of tragic things as a child, a lot of deaths in the family. And my father, when I was 21, he was paralytic for about 13 years. So I never realized that I was praying and God was listening. I didn't realize right at a young age. Only now, I think, when I reflected back, I said, "Oh, what a fool I was!" I thought I was doing everything myself. It was the universe and the God taking care of me. But I realize it now. So I think my spiritual journey. I don't know what to call it, but I feel the last 2 3 years I think have been very very different. The last 2 years I've gone through some real magical experiences, something that I never thought I would experience, and that brought me to reading and doing lots of things which now when I came to this experience in January, I suddenly realized probably I was prepared for it. I never looked at it that way. Sometimes, I didn't know uh, what synchronicity is. I had no clue why I saw numbers. I just thought, okay, it happens, right? But then when I started reading and I realized that, oh, I was being prepared for this. And that was a revelation for me. It's like I had goosebumps to think that um, it brought me here, right? So,
When I created my business, I hoped that the work could help people realize their truest nature, but I didn't really know if that was possible because I didn't want to bring a necessary, like a religion, so to speak, and a doctrine, more like how can we show up to our lives so that we are fully present and feeling our lives and questioning the assumptions, right? Questioning the beliefs. And when you came into my life, I'd say 3 or 4 years ago, I think it's been a while, I remember being so excited because I could feel that you had had a strong spiritual nurturing by, now I'm understanding your mom, and these seeds had been planted early in life. And there was a excitement that I had because you come from a completely different part of the planet, different belief systems, but yet we were finding common ground in our connection.
You know what? It's like, see, I've been doing things, I don't know, I just did things with all my heart. I have my learning experience designer, and this field is in a way new. It was new so many years ago. And a lot of the things that I did was very very creative. I had all kinds of ideas, and I used to spend a lot of time as I led product and content and things like that. And I did spend a lot of time speaking to business people, saying that this will work, this is something innovative, this is how schools will change, this is how learning should be. And then I also saw that, okay, I'm saying it, but do I know the basics of it? So I started reading. But then I came to a point that after having, you have expertise, right? But what is it like? What is it that I really want to do? That question, what is it that I really want to do? And I started working with you, and I realized that, oh, I would like to, the world is my stage. I would like to make learning really, really enjoyable and relevant and meaningful for each and every learner across the world. And so if I can share those ideas, and that's why I was a little lazy, but then I put my website, and it changed a lot of things, right? Um, I think it's not really about business. It's about showing up, like you said, showing up your true self, and the whole joy of connecting with people, and if they learn something, and that solution sort of scaling up with so many, like 6,000 people are learning at one time. And some of the solutions that I created 2 years ago, I think just when we had finished our first, after we had finished our first program, those probably will reach about 90,000 students in India now across one of the large corporates. And the students have done such amazing work with some of the new pedagogy that I introduced with them. And it's so many of them. I think those things made me do it more, right? Like I once created a program which was for below poverty line youth, and I remember I was in the corporate. Everybody used to laugh at me that what will you do for a program which is on just how to stitch shirts, right? So I said fine, because the textile industry was there, lots of documentaries were there. But then nobody had a training program to train people on how to stitch a shirt and using technology. But that solution trained the 60,000 below poverty line youth in 3 years. And so technology can scale up, and so lots of experiences. But I never thought of, standing up there and saying that, hey, you can make a difference, right, through learning and technology, because it's a new field. Right?
And then things were just going amazing in your business and making money and all these cool things. And then in January, you got some news.
Yeah. So actually, I think I knew about it a little earlier, but probably I sat on it because of fear, right? Like, right, I realized that just the word cancer has a lot of fear. I had fear. I didn't have any stigma, guilt, nothing. A lot of fear, right? Because my aunt also had cancer, but she was 72 then. And maybe, in a younger age, I looked at it and something, I don't know. I always felt uncomfortable with it. So when I first felt something in my breast, I kept telling myself, no, 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 I'm going to heal myself. It's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing. And the other self, like humans always think of all the negative things on earth, right? We think of the worst things on earth. And I said, no, 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 I think it's cancer, it's cancer, it's cancer, right? And that fear sort of caught on to me. But then one day I said, no, 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 this is not right, because now I'm feeling uncomfortable, right? I'm not going to sit. And the best thing to do is we have a cancer research center here close by. And I think from my younger days, I never used to look at that building, right? I used to just walk past, or somehow I had some fear. And I said, no, now whatever it is, right? I am just going to walk there. And I walked all the way. It's a 15-minute walk. I walked and I just said thank you. I don't know why, but I just kept saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, God, thank you, thank you. And I just walked. I went and told the doctor there. She said, we'll do a mammography, we'll do a sonography. And I told her, you know what? I'm just okay. I think I have it. So you better tell me. Usually they will not really tell you kind, right? Because you don't know how the patient reacts, right? But then she told me, and I was okay. I said, okay, fine. So then I said, will I be okay? She said, yeah. I said, okay, then it's fine. But I myself am quite surprised that I didn't know I had so much of courage within me. And, the way to look at it, because I don't think I ever asked the question, why me, right? I never asked the question, why me? I asked another question. I said, why did I come here? Right. And then I realized that, and I just sat through Leisa, right? The first, when she told me, yes, it is, but we'll have to do a few more tests and a biopsy, and then we'll know. It takes about 7-8 days to get those reports. So those 8 days, there was pain. But that's where I started asking those questions. I didn't find an answer. And then I said, no, let me just sit with myself. Right? Let me just sit with myself, breathe. I just used to close my eyes, sit. And then I said, oh, I've been very nice, I laugh, but then I realized, oh, I have sadness within me, right? And a lot of self pity, because I thought that, oh, in my younger days, my father was paralytic for 13 years. I had a lot of responsibilities at both my in-laws' place, like my after I got married, as well as my own place. And I had built so much of self pity, which I did not know at all. But because I had started practicing, I think I used to do meditation. I started doing it a little bit more seriously with you. And then in 2019, I designed a program where I built in mindfulness. And so I started practicing mindfulness. And one thing happened because of mindfulness. I started becoming aware of my thoughts, right? And so then lots of thoughts were there, but somehow I thought that because of mindfulness, my thoughts sort of, the number of thoughts came down because I started becoming aware of it. And that awareness led me to, when I used to sit in January, the first few days, I think, first, second, did that test. I then realized that it's a lot of self pity and sadness. And then I read a book. I had read a book called Happiness is Free by Lester Levinson. And there's a technique over there to release. And I'd been reading, I had read books by Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese monk. So I read those chapters again where there was release, right? And can you release something now? I said, yeah, do you really want to release it? I said, yeah, of course. I don't want to carry this baggage which has led me over here. And I'm telling you, Lisa, I said, okay, I'm just releasing this. I'm a fool. I took all of this, and how stupid to think of, so much of self pity that I have done everything. Who am I actually? Now I realize I'm nobody. There's nothing we can do. We are not controlling anything. But that release actually helped me. My whole view of looking at things changed so much. And I said, okay, I'm going to come out of it. I don't know how, when, what, I have no clue. But I know for sure. And I remember my brother in law, the first time he took me, I had a training program, and I just barely had 15 minutes to finish the program and then go for the doctor's appointment. So he said, oh, I'll just come and I'll pick you up. And then he said, you know, this is huge, right? Isn't it a shock wave? So I said, okay, I think let's start by thanking. Today I finished my training program. I didn't even ask you to come, but you came and you picked me up, and here we are on time for that appointment with the doctor is so busy. And then I told him, hey, we all have intelligence. We all can read. We are well informed. There's so many doctors in the family. We have whatever, we have access to doctors. We have insurance. So, okay, maybe, the money part will take care of. So lots of things to thank for. So let's start from there. No complaints, right? Let's not complain about anything. We are all together. And I think I saw him also feeling a little, sort of relieved. And then my husband also came, and my daughter was there, and I told everybody. My mother, she felt a little. She was in a denial for 8-10 days. But then I told her, there's no question of why me. Right? I'm damn sure there is some learning in this for me. I don't know what it is, but there is learning. And I think that's how it all started, sort of.
Wow. Wow. You were able to notice the feeling of self-pity and sadness, and you were able to choose something else for yourself.
Yes, yes, and I think that's the greatest because see, what will I do? I think that whole the choice that you make not only changes you but changes everybody around you, right? When people initially, my family, my friends, they started calling me, yeah, we laughed, right? we laughed. So nobody had any burden. Nobody has any burden talking to me, right? We laugh it out, and I think everybody around finds it so much more peaceful, and acceptance is there, and they know that, it's just a matter of time, isn't it? And anything. And then I read so much that I read a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's books. I was anyway doing his meditations. I don't know why. That's why I say I was prepared, right? I knew those that, if you make the mind, it's all in the mind after all, right? Because I had that fear of cancer, it came to me, and because I led a very hectic, stressful life, taking care of so many responsibilities, maybe my genetic destiny took over. But then I have the choice to change it, right? And finally, I think I also did one more exercise, which I don't know where I have read it, but the so what exercise, right? So I've got cancer now. I said, okay, so what? I don't know what will happen. So what? Right? Maybe I love my work. Will I be able to work? I don't know. So what? Right? And then my daughter, like, what will happen to my daughter? So I reached that so what, I reached to the stage that suppose I die. Right? Then what? And then I remember a conversation with a friend. He said, right, that the soul is the happiest when you die. I said, yeah, I know. And then he said, you're not going to die. You're going to live a long life. But so what if you die? I said, yeah, so what if you die? I reached that so what helped me to say that, who am I actually? And then I went through so many instances with my daughter, where I had experienced some miracles with her, where she went through, as she was growing up. And I realized, hey, I didn't do any of this. It just happened, right? So who am I to control something? I don't control anything. And uh, and slowly it's been these 3 months. I think these 3 months, at some point in time, I want to thank what happened to me, because it's such a beautiful transformation. You read about surrender, right? But it's all about relinquishing control. Just give up your control, right? And give up your control with knowing well that you will be taken care of, right? You're giving control, but why would God do anything bad for you? It's all divine, right? So why would there be something bad? Whatever will be more beautiful than I experienced, right? And I'm experiencing that. I never in my life thought that, like, when my hair, after the just near the second chemo, my one day I got up and my hair all, came together. I was, hey, what's happening? So one of my friends had told me her mother had gone through this. So she told me, yeah, maybe in the second chemo, you will start losing your hair. So as I brushed my hair, they just came out, and I said, oh my God, now it started happening. I looked at myself and I said, how will I look? Right? Then I went to the parlor and I said, why don't you entangle this for me? I came back and again they came together. So I said, okay, now that's it. But the second day I had my chemo, so I wore a headscarf. I went. The doctor said, oh, so has your hair gone? I said, no, 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 no. It's on its way, but I've kept it for you. Both laughed so much. And then the second or the third day, I walked to this beauty parlor and I said, can you do this? This is a different experience. You have to take a trimmer and, sort of just shave it off. She said, yeah. I said, because you know what? I am now in the bald is beautiful phase. So, and it's amazing, Lisa, right? I told her, which woman would really, feel the water on her scalp and enjoy it, right? So I'm going to enjoy all of it. I think it's the way you choose to look at things. And that gave her comfort to trim my hair, I think. She's a young girl, but it's finally making people comfortable with what it is.
when people find out that you have cancer, there's concern, there's worry perhaps on the person thinking, oh, am I going to be able to, be strong for Sucheta?
Yeah.
Am I going to
Yeah.
be able to be in conversation with her and not be too sad? Like they worry about themselves and in your presence because they know that they've got their own experience of the cancer. And you told me that friends come to visit you, and can you share about what happens when they come to visit you?
Yeah, like I remember, my aunt called. She also does a lot of spiritual work, and she called to say, "Oh, hey, I heard about it, and are you okay?" So I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, how are you?" Right. So I always go, even with the doctor. I say, "How are you?" And he says, "Ma'am, I have to ask you, how are you?" The assistant doctor, we had fun the first time, but when my aunt called and then I told her, "Oh, I'm great. Yeah. Now this has happened. So it's happened, right? So we can't change it. But I can change how I feel, and I'm going to be very happy. I'm going to enjoy every moment of this, and I'm not going to worry at all. What is there to worry, right? It's like I think it's a time. See, it's time for me to read things, see new things, look at different perspectives, and then we were speaking about something, and I don't know, I said something to her, I don't remember, and she laughed and I laughed and we started laughing together. And then she said, "You know what, Sucheta, I actually called you feeling, what am I going to say to her? Because I'm concerned, she's my aunt, she's seen me grow, right? And she said, just now, whatever it is, I have done so much of spiritual work, but just now I've been feeling a little low. Yet I called you because I had to. And now I just feel so rejuvenated. So I'm going to call you often, right? Like the other day, one of my work friends came and she said, she was calling me that, can I come over? And I said, yeah, 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 come over. You've just come for a meeting, come over whenever you can. She said, hey, you sound like you're rocking. I said, I am, just come over, right? And uh, she came and we had such fun together, and I was sharing all these experiences with her. Her father also has cancer, so when she went back, she said, oh, he's also very positive and I'm going to get him home and I want to come and visit you again, right? And then I told her, okay, let me just walk out with you now, because that's the first time I walked out bald with her, because I was okay with it, but I didn't know what other people would think, right? And then I realized that, oh, they look at me, they'll say something is, what is it? Some people will realize, some people will not realize, but they are okay, right? As long as I carry myself with confidence and I don't feel anything about it, yeah, it's okay. Because it was, for me, it was, the initial days after I went through my biopsy and the treatment started and the first chemo, I actually didn't have a bath for the next 3 days because I couldn't just come to my way to look at myself, right? And how am I going to look at myself? I'm feeling quite odd. So I said, oh, I'm feeling very weak. I have to sleep, and I just didn't take a bath. The fourth day, I said, no, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to have a bath. And I literally touched myself and I said, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry that I should have probably gone a little earlier to the doctor, but I had a lot of fear. And because of that fear, but anyway, I still went. And I said, you are so beautiful, right? And you're going to be fine, because the divine in me and you and whoever, whatever, is just going to um, heal you, right? And I think I learned that from some of the videos and some things that I read with Thich Nhat Hanh. You embrace pain, right? You talk to your body and say, everybody needs love. Everybody needs a loving touch, right? And my body is my body, right? If I don't accept it myself, but that helped. I literally remember saying, oh, you're beautiful. You make me look beautiful. You make me feel beautiful. I think that whole touch, and I don't know, it was full of compassion, I think, for myself. And then it changed, right? It's suddenly in another 4 5 days, I started seeing a difference. It's almost normal now. I feel normal. Then I started dancing. I do all kinds of things. And the first thing I think I do in the morning is, and before sleeping is, I had never done this before. But these 3 months, every day when I sleep, I say, thank you, body, for serving me. I never thought I took you so much for granted. I ate all the wrong things. I sometimes didn't exercise. And we don't have, we take so many things for granted, right? We take our body for granted. We take people around us for granted. We take so many things for granted. And I think I've learned a lot of things, like gratitude is amazing. and and I also learned one more thing, because it's I learned another thing, that I started looking at people from a completely different point of view, because when people come and talk to me, sometimes they want to talk, but they may not come and they may not get themselves to come and talk to me, right? So which means they also are facing some fears, because one thing is, it takes a lot of courage to stand by, even to support a person who is going through this treatment of cancer, because it's a treatment which goes on for a longer duration, right? And and so sometimes, and you also have to be very very practical about it, because it's a long treatment. Like a couple of times, like I think my third chemo, everybody, like my friends, my husband, so many people in the family, it was March, so everybody was busy, right? So my husband said, what will you do? I said, nothing. Something will happen. Somebody will come for me. Right? I'm not worried. So he said, what? I said, no, don't just worry. Right. And my sister-in-law came. She stayed with me for 2 3 days. So it all got taken care of. Right. And I think that's what is, I just believe that everything will be taken care of. Yeah, but sometimes I just do fall. I think I sometimes I do get angry also. Sometimes I do feel low, right? And once in a while I lose my temper also. Sometimes, like one thing starts, and then in the evening I talk to God and I say, oh, I think I fell from grace today. Let it go, let it go. It's okay. Tomorrow I'll start all over again. Because another friend told me that you talk to God, right? So I think God has become my best friend, right? And talking aloud to myself in the mirror, um, and then telling myself, oh, you look gorgeous, you're beautiful. It's all kinds of things that I do, but uh, that keeps me happy. And I think my daughter once told me that she went from, we are staying with my mom looking after her, and she went back to our place with her friends, and everybody asked, oh, how's auntie, how's auntie, she said, mom, you don't have any fear, and therefore I have no fear. I never realized what your own positivity and your own, and it's not about just saying that I'm positive. Right? It's feeling it, and it's and I think those two things have helped me to grow. One is that release, that awareness that it's all about self pity, and so I keep on telling myself that no self pity. I have to be conscious. Whenever that self pity comes, I derail myself. So I have to be conscious of the fact that I don't get into self pity. I don't think of the past, some things, and I don't think of the future, right? I don't ever think that now what will happen in the next chemo, right? What will the doctor say? I don't think of any of that. And I also think the first time when I went through my chemo, one of my friends, he told me, he said, keep your mind steady, okay? So I I used to chant the name of God, and then I used to say, keep your mind steady. If my mind wavered, I used to say, keep your mind steady, keep your mind steady. But see, these things I think they help because you have to be centered. It's not easy, but it's not impossible too. Right? It's the way you look at it, because I think there's a lot of release, and it's just sheer happiness. Once you give control, what is there? Once I told God, I don't know, they wanted me to do a test, and I got so scared. I got so scared that if this thing comes up and then I have to go through something, will it have some effect on my body? So 45 minutes I was with that thought. And suddenly, even though I had released, that thought came back that, so what, if I die? I don't know why that thought came up again. 45 minutes I went through the year, and then finally I said, oh, didn't I tell you that it's your will? So now if you want me to die just now, I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm going to chill out. I'm going to enjoy. But luckily the doctor said, oh, you don't have to go through this treatment. It's your body is responding well to chemo, and it's your choice, right, if you want to do it or not. So that helped me to relax. And there is pain, right? A lot of people tell me, oh, you have cancer, you have lots of pain. But again, I do a technique again, which I've seen in a video by Not on. I say, yeah, it's there, right? You're there. Yeah, you're there. It's paining. So, uh, so I accept there is pain. I never deny it that there is pain. And then I said, okay, I'm going to embrace you. Because they say you embrace that pain as if it's your child, right? And you just say, oh, okay, I embrace you with lots of love. And then you say, okay, now I'm just releasing you. So you release it to the end of the universe, and then you don't feel any pain. so so every time the nurse comes and she says, this is going to pain now. So I said, okay, good that you told me. So you have to start the giving it to me after 2 minutes, right? Because in those 2 minutes I tell myself that, okay, I'm accepting the pain, right? And then it's easy. So because what you give attention grows, right? So if you don't give it attention, and it's denying. I think a lot of times we are just saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, right? And resistance. So it's been magical for me that some of experiences I've learned how to not resist things. I've seen, I've felt what surrender is in a completely different way. It's no longer a word which has a dictionary meaning, right? It's a feeling of letting go. And sometimes then I feel like, you sleep, you look at the ceiling, the fan, and you say, oh, you are the happiest person in the world. Because there's nothing to control. What is there to control, right? As it comes, you take it. And that, I didn't do anything. Like you said, I did very well. So many of the meditations that we did together, I remember the one which we did. I think I got so engrossed in that meditation, which we did for gratefulness only. And I think one we did was forgiveness. So I did that as well. Sometimes you keep on repeating, somebody has hurt you, right? And you keep on repeating that story to yourself. That person may not have had that in mind. Why would anybody hurt anybody, right? Sometimes it just happens, I think, unknowingly. Sometimes I've realized it happens because that other person also has fears or anger or something, and it's just a way of reacting to those inner uh, negative feelings. And we say, oh, that person hurt me, right? That person is angry. But whenever I've realized one thing, that whenever somebody is angry at you, something within that person, or when somebody is not having the courage to even stand by, or you know people give excuses, I can't do this, I won't do it really. And it comes from a lot of negative emotions within. And then I started feeling, oh, I have also gone through fear, worry, and I've also got angry. Maybe because I know now, because I've become aware that actually I got angry because I was worried. I got angry at my daughter because I was worried for her. That anger was not the true thing. It was the worry that made me angry. And so, there's this book, right? The the boy, the horse, and the mole, I think, whatever, I've forgotten the name. So I read one thing, it's the horse asks the boy, so what do you know about storms? And the boy says that they make you kinder and they end, right? That's such a true statement. It makes you so compassionate to know that the people reacting, fear, worry, guilt, anger, is so much within us, and we've not really released it, right? So we are releasing it on people around us, our family, our loved ones, and if we try and understand it. And then I also thought, again, self-pity, why am I so understanding? Why are they not understanding me? Right? But but understanding helps. And understanding, I think, there's another book called True Love by, again, that it's not on, a very beautiful sentence which says, understanding requires practice, right? So it's practice. That word understanding has such depth, giving space to people, giving, maybe understanding that there's fear within you. And if for example, if you say that out loud and communicate with people, uh, they may start becoming self-aware and realize that it's fake. Not judging, but saying maybe it's fear, maybe you're angry because of it. I don't know, but it's your own journey, right? So each one of us has our own journey, I think, and that's why it's so important to look at it from a completely different perspective. Understanding human beings, we are all connected, right? We all have the same. Remember in one of those, all women, the first time I said, oh, I'm from India, there's so many people, women from all over the world. And as women, we have the same kind of feelings and the same kind of experiences and the same kind of thoughts, the same kind of fears, the same kind of insecurities. Because finally, we are all humans, right? So I think that's what.
I remember you sharing that, and the realization that, we have all these folks and everyone's got different backgrounds, and yet we're all the same in the way that we process through information, in the way that we love, in the way that we pray, in the way that we engage in our lives. And the beauty of realizing that is, rather than being outside of something, you're welcoming yourself inside of life. You're inside of life, and you're willing to be present to the challenges. So the group allows us to see that we could choose to be outside, or we can choose to be inside. And what I'm hearing from what's going on for you and what cancer has brought into your life is you realize that you could choose to be in self-pity and sadness and fear and worry. And you decided that wasn't what was going to be best for you. So you chose to be inside of an experience of love and compassion and self-understanding, and not saying I have to be positive all the time. That's not what this is about. It's about realizing that you're going to get angry, you're going to be sad, you're going to be experiencing pain, and then you can choose something else for yourself each and every moment that comes up.
Yeah, it is like that. And I think, I've also realized that the mind has tremendous power. I don't think we have experienced, or we use it even 5% of it at the times. It's also, I started thinking that once I just said, I read, I think, The Power of Intention, where I think Dr. Dyer, he says that, dying before death, right? And when I was talking to somebody, the person said, "What are you saying?" I said, "No, I'm looking at it in a very positive, in a very positive way." I've realized that through what I'm going through, it is the death of my old self, right? It's a new me which is emerging, much more confident, much more stronger, a broader sense of things. And also, I also realized, like, now what I've done is, in the last 2 days actually, I said, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what self-love is. I don't know what it is, right? It's not just saying, okay, I love you, I love you. It's like, it's, it's, uh, it's a completely different experience. And I said, okay, let me see what it is for the next 21 days. I don't know what will come about it, but I realized that uh, it's a freeing experience, right? Finally, it's not about saying that, oh, I don't want people around me, or I don't want relationships, or I don't want success. All of it is there. But I think it's the freeing part of it is knowing that it's there, not worrying too much about it. And it's like, that there's something over there, up in the sky, which takes care of each one of us, right? And that is the most beautiful thing, to leave all your worries and your anxieties to that power, and say that, yeah, you are one of it, right? You're part of it. So that whole, that whole idea, which it's turned by around, that if it's God and there's divinity in you and you are part of the universe, because I started reading about quantum, the quantum human, quantum physics, and things like that. Why would the divine do anything wrong with you? Right? So it's faith, and faith has tremendous power, right? If I tell myself that I'm just going to, I do it with my mom. She's 87. Sometimes she can't walk. Sometimes but I say, no, you can walk. Nothing is wrong with you. It's okay. 2-3 days you don't walk, chill. Like recently, she didn't walk for 8 days. After 8 days, she started walking. So as long as it's the mind, I think it's the mind which has tremendous power. And I think, if I really want to now, sort of work on that, and learn as much as I can about it. And I really would like to share this with people, because I am realizing what the power of the mind does, right? See, because it's an amazing, I go to the hospital, I laugh with the doctor, I laugh with the nurses, right? Uh, while going, I say bye, thank you so much. And I've had, like, the recent chemo, they give you just saline at the end of it. It's like, just the plain saline after your chemo. And then you have to go to the washroom. So, but if you go to the washroom, then you again have to flush out, and it's painful. So I said, okay, I'll just sit, you just give those 2 bottles, I'll just take it. But your body reacts, right? And I said, no, I can't just sit. I have to go to the washroom. And she said, but I said, I don't want to flush it out. I don't want to feel that pain again. Now, what do you do? So she said, oh, it's the last bottle, and we've anyway given everything back. And she said, okay, just wait. I'll come back in a minute. She came back and he said, okay, I'm going to hold your saline bottle for you. Let's just walk to the washroom. And then she told me, ma'am, I've never done this for anybody, but I just felt like doing it. I said, you know why? Because you have God within and I have God within me. So we've solved our problem.
That's it. That is it. It's this surrender
Yeah,
to the relationship that you have with God,
yeah,
and knowing that it's it's all good.
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. And whatever happen will be good, right? Even if we all read now, right, that the soul, when the soul leaves the body, I think it's the happiest because it's the release of it all. And so it's easy to say, I tell my mom that it's easy to say, when you go, obviously I will cry. But I will look at it as your transition. And I would really like to share one thing which, I read. I think it's a book by Pema Johnson. I can't pronounce her name, but I loved one thought. She took her teenage boys to a monk and said, what would you like to tell them? And he said that, we all have to die one day, but and we don't take anything with us. What we take with us is the feelings and the thoughts that, that. And so that's why I keep telling her, forget your fears. Now you're 87, take with you a lot of happiness, so be happy and chilled out. And because when you transition, at least on this journey, you have expanded your soul with those experiences, right? And why
Mhm.
waste time thinking of all the negative things when you have so much of positivity in you? So I think that's
Yes,
one thing that makes me wake up every day. And if you wake up, then it's a blessing. The day is a blessing, right?
it is. Sucheta, I'm so grateful for you to share so much with us today. This was exactly what I had hoped, and I know that this can help others, and you helped me during this conversation. I definitely feel the transference of consciousness that you're sharing with all of us in this
Yeah.
state of beauty and love.
Yeah. And thank you so much, because it was so wonderful, for me to share this with you. And I don't know, like I've always told you, I don't know what connect we have sitting at two ends of the world, but must be something. So I can share with you anything, right? Like in those sacred circles, also, I think that was beautiful. And I must tell people who they should experience the sacred circle with you. So it's beautiful to have that safe space, and to be able to connect with you at that level, and share these things which you can't really tell everybody, right? Or maybe you can, but maybe it's the beginning of it for me to share it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such an honor to be in your presence, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much.